And we're
Yes,
live.
number
Hello,
14.
hello and welcome to Hurry Up Sunday, episode 14, to our one faithful viewer. I'm not sure if we have anyone watching live.
No, who knows? But eventually,
Yeah,
one
eventually.
person will come.
Um, I mean, actually, what I can do is I can have the chat line bit open, so if anyone actually posts a
Yeah,
comment, I might even be able to read it at some point and
shut
potentially
up. You
answer it.
guys suck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Replace both of you. Oh. Um,
All you need is better cameras and two different people.
yeah, and content.
Yeah.
Um,
People that aren't you.
um, yeah. All right. So,
So I'm in sunny Perth on holidays. So
holiday and eh?
lovely. Yeah.
What's that like?
Catching up with the boys tomorrow night for dinner.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Um, Going to a nice restaurant somewhere.
good. Restaurant
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah.
I don't know the
McDonald's.
name of it. No.
McDonald's drive-through. Anything on the
Yeah.
menu.
Yeah. Bobby was like, we picked one. Well, Brian picked one restaurant, is it the Windsor, you know that pub down near in South Perth.
I actually can't remember the names of those places.
Well, it's like in the entry is in the South Perth car park. Like it's that big pub on the side.
Okay.
Anyway,
Oh, wait.
yeah,
No, no, I have no idea which one you're
yeah.
talking about.
Brian
No.
picked that, and
Yep.
then Bob said no. That's there's no veggie options there.
You can get chips.
Uh, uh, if I wasn't gonna dox myself, I would show you the conversation where I said you can eat chips.
That's the global vegetarian option. Dear.
Mm. So lots happened this week.
Oh, well, um, the reason why I said what's holidaying like is because we're back on lockdown, full like
Oh, so
MCO.
you didn't go into school
I
anymore.
went into work for 2 days, and then
Oh
the
God.
students came in for 2 days, and then they just went, nah, you're not coming back, and so
Wow.
now we're all back at home, and so I taught online again today.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it was very, very knee jerk. Um,
It seems like it's like two different factions are fighting,
yeah, I don't think it's a health.
making policies.
Yeah, I don't think it's health decisions. I think it's
Yeah,
political decisions at the moment. However,
yeah.
we
That's
are
what it feels like.
cracking 3,000 plus cases a day,
Eesh.
and the recovery rate is like maybe 1,000 to 1,500 a day. So the
Hmm.
numbers, I think either today or
They're like
tomorrow.
growing.
Well, yeah, I think it's like hitting
Yeah.
bed capacity. I think they said it was like at 80%, and that was when it was at 20,
Shit.
what, 25,000 people, and now it's like
Yeah.
32,000 people active cases. So it's like it's pretty much going to be, are you dying? No? Okay, well, don't come to hospital. Goodbye.
Yeah. You almost want to just go grab it, get it now before
Yeah,
they run out of beds.
yeah, exactly. Um,
I remember that was a discussion amongst people on Twitter when it first came out, like in maybe like May when it started to go rampant in America.
yeah.
All the American people I talked to were like, maybe I should just get it now early while there's still heaps of capacity and people can just like then I can just get over it and be like fully supported.
Yeah, except you would have ended up on the ventilators, right? Where they blew your
Well,
lungs
that's
out.
true. Yeah, that's probably true as well. But it's kind of scary, like
Yeah,
that those are the calculations you're making now.
that's pretty
So,
much what we're looking at, though. That is, yeah. So
gosh.
the
So how are you
the
getting your food?
so they've brought it to pretty much how they got it just before they stopped it the first time around, which is that two people per household are allowed to travel together, and emergency or like stable supply kind of things are all open still. So construction is
Ah, okay.
open. Your groceries are all open. Restaurants are all open, but it's only for takeaway or delivery.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's not as super strict as it was at the very beginning, but it was more at the functional end of the lockdown that they had. But it's definitely a lot more than what it was. They've banned all interstate travel, and
Wow.
now the king has declared a state of emergency.
What does
Um,
that do?
they're not sure exactly, but what it's it has something to do with the politics of it, because I think like was it like the previous dude, Najib, got kicked out. Well, he got voted out, but
Yeah.
basically the country had had enough of him.
Mm.
And so the next guy took over. Um, but I'm not exactly sure what happened, why he left, but he's out, and the new people are in, but they didn't get voted in. It was more just like the last guy left, and they just happened to be there, and so they
Oh,
haven't
okay.
had an election to bring in new leaders. And so what the emergency protocols do is that they prevent any parliamentary changes from taking place. So there's no elections
Oh,
allowed to be held. There's no new parliament policies and decisions being made.
wow.
Um, they've they've basically put a stop to that for the moment. The King's declared that until August. So
August.
So I think he's,
It's
I'm
only
not,
January.
yeah, I know. So I'm not sure if it's the king just going, all right, enough of your politics, just get in there and get the health care
Yeah.
taken care of, or if there's some other political agenda. I don't know. I don't honestly don't know it enough. And
Yeah.
what I was reading online today about it, like one of the newspapers or something was doing analysis of the what the state of emergency meant. There was literally one part of it where they just said we don't know, um, because
Wow.
it's still kind of new territory for what it's actually saying. But one of the
Jeez.
big points of note is that they're bringing additional power to both the military and the police, to step up the level of punishment associated with
Okay.
breaking the lockdown curfew sort
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah.
So basically, it's just like, all right, guys, enough interstate travel, enough getting out and going around all the time. If we do catch you, we're going to kick your butt. And
Wow.
um,
That's so scary, dude. Like,
yeah,
because this is exactly what's happened in some of the states in America as well, where it's like, and even England, like the UK, it's this like sense of giving. Let's give the police more power because then they'll do the right thing. But it just ends up like they pretty much just abuse it, and
yeah,
now they've got more power. So they just they can start arresting people for smaller things.
yeah. And there was
It's
some
like,
of that happening in the previous
yeah,
lockdown. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. It's just like, hey, let's just.
yeah,
We haven't been able to get this. Excuse me. We haven't been able to get this guy on anything else, but we can get him on COVID crackdown stuff.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, we're gonna be based pretty much just staying at home as much as possible, hitting the shops whenever we need groceries, and
Yeah,
just getting back home and leave it at that. I think like what they told us when we went home from work is that it's for 2 weeks, which is the
yeah.
same thing they told us when we first went into lockdown. So it was like 6 months later. So we're all pretty much gearing up for, yep, it's probably
Gosh.
going to be about 6 months worth of lockdown again. Um,
And there's no way to get back here.
I mean, I probably can. I don't know
Yeah,
about
but
Ramira.
yeah,
She'll have to
gosh.
apply to like the Department of Immigration, try and get.
Yeah,
I don't know. I know she was looking at it, and there are a few
gosh.
steps that you can do. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's not exactly like they're just going to be letting everyone out. But the
No, that's
only
true.
the only plus
Gosh.
side is that we're getting the vaccination coming through.
Oh, cool.
Um,
Which one are you getting?
so they've they've ordered the Pfizer one, and they've ordered
Yeah.
the what's that? What's that Swedish Indian one? Like
Uh,
AstraZeneca or something.
yeah, AstraZeneca. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think those are the main two. But then to cover up to cover the last of the numbers, I think they're bringing in the Sinovax one, which I'm not. Yeah.
Read the label on your thing
Yeah.
before you get it.
Yeah. So I'm like juggling between do I rush in early and get the vaccine,
Yeah,
because then I'll probably get the better one, versus
yeah.
should I be getting the vaccine because I still don't know what the long-term effects of it are and so on.
I mean, I think at this stage, with there being no healthcare, you're better off taking the risk with the vaccine. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but
Yeah. No,
that's
no,
what I'm
I'm
gonna do.
gonna hold you
Like,
to
I'm
that.
not even. We don't even have any COVID where I am, and I want to take it
Yeah.
because it's like I just don't want to have to think about it.
Yeah, that's
And
yeah.
it's the sooner, like we are gonna lose, say, let's say we lose another 0.5% of the population to the vaccine, but
Yeah.
everyone else is fine.
Yeah. Well, my
But
main one is like, oh,
is that worth it?
what if it's like in 3 years' time everyone's sterilized? That's my
Well, then we'd be
concern.
like that. What's that show?
The Logan's Run.
Oh,
No.
no, no. What was that movie? It was like everyone didn't have babies, and then one lady has a baby, and they're like they have to get the baby from one place to another or something.
Not the
And
book of
everywhere they
Book of Eli. Oh no,
no, no, no, it's a
that was
movie, and it's like everywhere they go, um, everyone's looking at the baby, like, whoa, baby, like everyone's like freaking out looking at this baby.
Yeah, well, look, something's got to be done about the gradual overpopulation of our planet, right? So, you
I
know,
mean, you're not having kids anyway.
well, I mean, who knows? I'd like to have the option to say
Yeah, fair enough.
no, rather than it just being taken out of my hands. Um,
That's true, but I don't think it has any possibility of sterilizing people. I think the more possibility is that you're going to get. I, I mean, really, the only possibilities are adverse reactions,
yeah,
which is short term,
yeah,
or some sort of long term reaction from your body, similar into the way the coronavirus does. It like stimulates the immune, like overstimulates your immune response
right,
to where you get a massive inflammatory response in parts of your body.
right.
But yeah, again, like it's like, do you want 0.5% of your population to die to COVID, and then maybe you get an immune response from that, like you get herd immunity,
Mm,
or do you want to have the herd immunity through a vaccine?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, obviously, for
it's
me,
it's
vaccines are well, they work and they're good,
yeah,
but only when they're tested properly, and this one hasn't
yeah.
had that, and that's my main concern with it because I don't
No,
I
I
don't know
agree.
exactly the way it's functioning. So, regardless, I'm pretty sure it will be you need to have had it or you need to have proof that you've got the antibodies to corona in order to travel. So,
Yeah, well, in Australia, they're not making it mandatory except for specific jobs,
right.
and they haven't said anything about travel yet because we're still all locked down. But I'm assuming I know Qantas tried to say if you want to travel, you have to have the vaccine,
Yeah.
and everyone kicked up a big fuss about it, and
Right.
they backed down from it.
All right.
But I know we have the Pfizer one, but we only bought 5 million of them,
Yeah.
and now the rest of them have to be made up with the AstraZeneca one,
Right. Right.
which I say is slightly less effective.
Yeah, but it
Um,
handles the temperature better, right?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
easier to be transported around.
Yeah, so
But
for
yeah,
me, like I think that's probably the better option because we're in like a humid country where you
yeah.
never know who's accidentally left the crate out before going, oh, whoops, better
Well,
chuck it back in the fridge.
did we talk about that last week with the
Yeah,
pharmacists
yeah,
intentionally doing it and the doctors?
yeah,
What are you
idiots.
guys doing?
I know,
Like,
it's so dumb.
yeah.
Yeah,
But anyway, we haven't talked about the the elephant in the room.
Corona.
Um,
Oh.
that's what I've got. No, the
Get
the
him! Sorry.
well, specifically an elephant because it's the Republican Party symbol. Um, Trump inciting a an insurrection into the Capitol.
Yeah, yeah, that
That,
was
that,
that was a fun entertainment day.
yeah,
Um,
far out, man.
yeah. Yeah, that's again, I've been like trying to watch the reports on that. I've seen his actual talk.
Yeah,
I watched reporters who were at the site.
yeah.
He didn't incite an insurrection or a stampede in. He wasn't actually even there, and his supporters that were with him weren't able to get to the Capitol in the time for when it did get run, like overrun. But that's just according to the streams of media that I was looking at. I
Mm.
haven't watched the alternative ones, so I don't know what they say. And that's
Well, from what I understand, I only watched excerpts of his talk, and I was pretty sure he said like, "Let's all march down the street to the Capitol."
he did, yeah, but he
Yeah,
didn't say let's. He said let's go and protest, but
yeah.
he didn't
But
say
it's
let's go and smash in and break in and all that.
but he never says a specific thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
No, no,
he's very good at
he implies but never
wording.
states. Yeah,
Yeah, it's I think Eric Weinstein was saying um, for Trump, like the coin always lands on its edge. Um, and he's like so both sides will take away what they want from it,
right.
and but his coin always lands on that on the edge. It's like whenever you see a coin flip from him, it's always on the edge. So everyone takes away their bit from what he says
Right.
because he knows how to speak. So his guys get what they want to hear,
Yeah.
and then the other side hears the opposite,
Yeah.
which is quite amazing
Yeah. I mean,
when
that's
you think
actually
about it.
really good political skills. So,
No, he's an amazing talker. It's really like
yeah.
that's where his genius lies. Is that like sales
Yeah.
and
But what we saw
convincing
actually
people.
happen was that a whole bunch of maniacs stormed in,
Yeah.
smashed the windows. Some chick tried to like climb up and climb in there and got shot
Did you
straight
see the
away.
Did you see the video
No,
of her getting shot?
I don't like to watch those kind of things, but
It was crazy, man. She was like they're pushing on this barricaded door. So there's all these chairs and
yeah, I saw
tables and
that
stuff,
part. Yeah.
and they're like smashing the windows.
Yeah.
And then there's a Secret Service dude with a gun like off to the side, and she's like climbs halfway in the window,
Yeah.
and that's when he shoots her.
Oh, Jesus.
And then she's just on the ground like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
Yeah.
the problem with something so chaotic like that
Yeah.
is you can there's a lot of missing information,
Yeah.
and that's where the conspiracies grow.
Yeah, of
So
course.
it's like, it's like like the first thing they tried to spread was that there was Antifa people pretending to be Trump people,
Yeah.
and then the next thing that happened was, oh well, maybe it was staged, maybe it was like all planned,
Oh,
and
I haven't heard that one.
yeah, and now the left wing is saying, oh, a whole bunch of people got walked through the building the day before, showing them where everything went, and it's like
Okay.
there was a video of like the police opening the gate for a bunch of them,
Yeah.
but there's no context for that video. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Because
this is the problem when you watch these
well,
videos.
there
It's
was
like
another video of like one cop getting outnumbered by a bunch of people, and then he's just like, oh, and then
That
they,
that that black dude
I didn't actually see the video. I just got told about it. So,
running up the stairs.
oh, like one of the first guys in.
No, no, no.
Oh,
He's like a police officer or
oh
one of the guards,
yes, yes, that one I did see. Yep.
and he's just getting like chased up the stairs
Yeah,
by an angry mob. I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
get out
He's
of
not
there,
letting
mate!
anyone
Get
in.
out of there!
He's
He was
being
like,
chased by the angry mob. Yeah,
yeah.
yes,
So you don't know whether those people were outnumbered, so they were like, well, let's let everyone in.
yeah.
But then you also see, did you see the recent video of like they're in the archway, like in the main entrance, and there's all these people pushing, and then one guy reaches over and grabs a cop from inside the archway and pulls him out onto the steps,
Jesus.
and then they all just like stamp on him.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, and it's like it's just madness. Like the whole thing is just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It's like what, four people died or five people now
Five, I heard.
died?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
one
and
got
like
crushed by a crowd, one got shot, one
yeah,
I can't remember
and
the other
then
ones.
I think another police officer just committed suicide or something
Oh,
because of it.
Jesus.
Um, and this is the thing. It's like it doesn't matter what like the minutia is. It's like
Yeah,
at the end of the day, a giant crowd of Trump people stormed the Capitol
yeah,
and brought in Confederate flags for the first time ever into the Capitol. Like that's just insane.
yeah,
Like if you saw those pictures in any other country,
yeah,
you'd be like, oh, here they go again,
yeah.
like the
Yeah,
Colombians,
the
or here,
warlords are at it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah,
oh, there's the African warlord taking his flag through the thing.
yeah,
But because it's a bunch of white dudes,
yeah. It's
um,
like the pinnacle of democracy in the free world. Yeah,
yeah, because it's a bunch of white dudes, A, no one cares. B, like, B, everyone like just imagine
mm,
1,000 Mexicans storming the American Capitol, even if they're American citizens. Let's say they were all Mexican.
right.
What do you think would have happened?
I mean, my mind's going to like gardening jokes and stuff, but I'm not gonna go there.
You'd have a really perfect lawn. No, like they'd all be shot.
Yeah,
Like imagine if a
yeah,
bunch of African American, like black people came through. They'd all be
yeah,
just gunned down at the door.
yeah. True.
It's like
They'd be
it's
calling
it's
it
in
treason or whatever, and
yeah, it's just insanity like what happened. And
yeah,
now they're going back and the FBI is like gathering all the data and
yeah,
contacting. I saw one post with one lady's like, oh, this guy, one of the guys that went through, he lives like 15 minutes away from me.
right,
And I was driving past and the FBI were there at his door.
right.
Again, that's just anecdotal, but
Yeah,
it's just it seems like they're slowly catching people.
yeah. That's the reports I'm hearing too. But
But
it's
how crazy though?
well, there
You
was
had them there.
we yeah, but you also had like what 40, 50,000 people around as well.
Yeah,
It's yeah,
it's true.
and they
Yeah.
were showing videos of dudes going in, causing problems, getting down under flags, changing their clothes, and then
Ah,
like
I didn't see that. Yeah.
yeah, so there I mean they showed one dude who was I think he was interviewed on CNN, and then they showed pictures of him, um, I think something to do with like with his Antifa rally. So he was an Antifa dude. Um,
Oh, is that the dude with the giant bullhorns?
no, 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 that guy's a Trump supporter. He's insane.
He's he's. Did you read the article? He's hasn't eaten anything for a week
Oh my
because prison's not providing him with organically grown food.
God. The bastards.
I
Like
want
the
my
injustice
couscous.
of it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It's just
Like
too funny,
I saw
man.
Joe Rogan's post on Twitter, right after, no, it was Instagram, right after that happened, and Joe's just like, aliens, please come
Yeah,
intervene
I
now.
saw that as well.
Oh dear.
Oh, it's too funny,
Oh my
man.
God. I can't believe that's his complaint. Yeah, no, that bullhorn dude's insane. No, it was another guy,
Yeah,
that was like, yeah, there was the stuff again. The stuff I'm seeing is more it seems to be more aligned with Trump's narrative.
yeah,
And so it is showing the links between particular troublemakers and Antifa, but it's not
yeah,
showing the full story of what was happening with like just normal Trump supporters or that. It's like it's still clinging to the conspiracy um, of like basically communist China coming in and trying to train people up into destabilizing America as a nation so that it can start
yeah,
inserting its or influencing its will stronger over its media and its governance. And
yeah.
so,
Well, I mean, Trump just threatened the Congress again. Was it today or the day before? And he's like, "Oh, the 25th Amendment's going to come back and bite you, Joe
oh yeah,
Biden,
yeah,
and you're gonna like impeachment's just a further continuation of the witch hunt."
yeah, I think
Um,
it was yesterday, yeah.
but it's like underneath that, he was like, "If you keep going with this, there's going to be more violence." And it's like
Yeah,
you can't say that. Like you can't. You're basically it's like the old mob thing. It's like, oh, that's a nice store you got there. It's a pity if it got broken.
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's that sort of line where it's like
yeah,
this implication underneath it.
yeah,
Stop stop pursuing me, or things are going to break.
yeah. Yeah,
And
that's right. And the media the people that pick up his narrative are so strongly behind him. They're just like,
yeah,
Biden's gonna burn. We want America free.
yeah,
We need to fight for our freedom and all that. And there does seem to be some propaganda out there, like I think there's a poster going up about how you basically need to have an armed conflict on the date of the 20th
yeah.
to
Well, he's
to
holding a rally for his 2024 um, election. Like he's announcing he's running for 2024
right.
on the day of Biden's
Jesus
inauguration.
Christ. Yeah, well,
It's like,
Biden has gotten around that by saying we should do it virtually.
yeah,
Everyone stay home.
definitely.
Yeah. I don't
I would
understand.
be doing that because
Yeah, that dude's
imagine,
crazy.
but imagine the crazies that are going to try and come up and shoot him, or like,
Yeah, exactly.
because
Exactly.
normally they have like hundreds of thousands of people
Yeah.
like crammed into that Capitol Square, and it's like,
Yeah, because they get voted in and the people want them in as the new
yeah,
president. Yeah. Yeah, whereas now it's
uh,
like I don't know what's going on. And
it's scary, man.
the whole Trump what did he do? He also said something about a state of emergency. It declared a state of emergency for
Yeah, yeah,
um,
Washington D.C.
yeah, um, and
for the stuff that his followers did.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And so now for the inauguration day, there's going to be something like what 15,000 troops or something
Yeah, yeah.
in the capital. Um,
It'd be funny if he tried to like have a coup.
well, I mean, it'd be entertaining. The, that dude is bigger than the Kardashians at the moment. He's,
It's I find
uh,
I think it's gonna be a relief once everyone stops talking about him.
yeah.
Like
Well, same with the
I
COVID.
really,
Yeah.
it's just it's like it's becoming like nauseating listening to his voice and talking about it, and the whole world has been focused on one person for 4 years. It's like
Mostly, yeah.
imagine what's going on that's not him.
Well,
That has just been getting they've just been getting away with. Like people have been getting away with things.
yeah, Hong Kong, man.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. It's like,
I'm pretty sure it's going to be Taiwan soon.
yeah, it's that like it's just it's such a unnecessary distraction.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, this is the one of the problems. I think I mentioned it in our last one about the censorship and so on that's going on. There is a media war taking place at the moment as well. And
Deplatforming Trump was disgusting.
yeah, but also there was like I was watching this one report about this platform called Parler,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
and I think that was one that Trump tried to jump onto so that he could have a platform to talk. And
yeah,
that unilaterally just got removed. It got removed from Google, it got removed from like the Google Play, it
yeah,
got removed from Apple, and like
yeah,
the dude was saying it happened within moments. Like it seemed like it was
yeah,
a coordinated effort to just stop his platform.
yeah. It's
Um,
crazy, eh?
I only heard 15 minutes of it, so I'm not exactly sure of the details. But he was just saying like it's basically um, not a maneuver based on legal standing because he doesn't actually fall into the categories of what his platform's being charged of doing.
Yeah.
It just seems more like it was a maneuver to stop Trump. It's basically what it
Well,
was.
it basically what Parler was they were trying to create a free speech platform.
Yeah,
So they were, and right now it's just not. People don't want that. Like the tech giants and all the people that are in power, they're more going for a benign sort of. They're trying to be benign with their censorship,
yeah,
but there's no such thing. And this is what I think a lot of the left wing people don't understand is that once you start down that road, you can't get it back because it's like so Trump got deplatformed because of reasons like he was inciting violence and blah blah blah.
yeah,
But once you do that, you then go, okay, who's number two?
yeah, exactly.
It's like who's the second most annoying person? Oh, that guy. Okay, let's get rid of him. And then it's like, okay, let's just keep going down the line. It's like this purification thing. It's like, let's just keep purifying and purifying until no one is pure enough to exist under our rules.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Except
and
for
this is,
ourselves.
but
Yeah,
even then, it's like
yeah,
it's only but they're not pure enough. They just control it.
yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah, so the majority turn on them and it
yeah,
collapses.
and it causes so much pain and misery before it gets to that.
Yeah.
And you're literally going like, have you finished 1984 yet?
No, no, no.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. No, I've been playing
You
Genshin
literally
and
You should
prepping for
listen to it
work.
while you're doing it. But
Yeah,
yeah, they literally have this thing called newspeak
yeah,
where it's like you just that's how people talk because everything that's dissident or anything like that gets censored out.
yeah,
And this is what they're doing. You're going to force people to voice their opinions through a very narrow, like a more and more narrow window
yeah,
to the point where their opinions can no longer be voiced. And that's going to just lead to, like you said, like an underlying seething issue.
yeah,
And like, like Trump was one side of it where he was trying to take control through through like more the fascist side, where it's like I'm gonna be an authoritarian. I'm gonna control all the narratives. I'm gonna control the media.
He,
Don't shake your head.
no, he didn't.
He
He didn't actually do that because he didn't he didn't actually stop free speech. He
No, he
actually
did
he
because what
no, he actually
what he
encouraged it.
did, he encourages free speech, but only his type of free speech. So it's like he said, all the news channels, they're all fake news. Don't listen to them because they do is lie and all they do
Yeah,
is
okay,
talk
okay.
rubbish.
Yeah,
Listen to because what was the quote where they were like someone called him up on something and he's like, no, no, that was the Trump meet. I'm quoting the Trump media, and it's
yeah,
like
that's right.
that's where
Yeah,
fascism goes. It's like you start because it's very similar to communism.
Yeah.
It's like you got a big circle, and then the two end bits they touch each other. It's like fascism and communism. Like they got a big circle, and they go around and they touch because it's like both sides are trying to control,
Right.
and they're trying to limit other ideas.
Yeah. Dissenting voices. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and all of the dissenting, like, look how many people he attacked and tried to politically destroy. Like when they were with him and on his side, they were the best. They had great
Yeah.
credentials. People say great things about them.
Yeah.
As soon as he fires them, he's just a loser. I never knew him. Why would I even talk to this person?
Yeah. That's true.
And it's like it's this like so on that side you got that. Whereas on the other side, it's like an oligarchy almost trying to control
Yeah.
um, the people's speech and thoughts and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. Which is more the
So
communist end of it.
yeah, and it's like
Uh,
both sides think they're right.
yeah.
Like the communists are like, we're helping people. Everyone's going to be
Yeah.
I think Andrew Yang tweeted. What did he say? Giving people money doesn't. What did he say? Giving people money doesn't. I don't want to misquote him, but he said basically giving people money doesn't enslave them. It frees them. Basically, something like that. But it's
Right.
like, yeah. So yes, if you give it to them unconditionally, but you're not going to give it to them unconditionally. It's going to be under the conditions that they are good citizens.
Right.
Like eventually there'll be some sort of test whether you get this money, and if you don't fit under that umbrella, you don't get that money.
Yeah.
So and that's how they get you. It's exactly like this. Take YouTube for example. All hail YouTube.
Yeah.
Um, if we were to say we become popular for some unknown reason,
When,
say we
Simon,
become
when
popular,
we become popular,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, when we become popular, right,
Yeah.
and we start getting ad revenue,
Yeah.
and we start say because we're doing live things, we start getting tips and things like that, and then you quit your job. I don't have a job anymore. We're just doing this. We're making money. We're gonna protect that um, line of income
Yeah.
by towing the company line.
Yeah.
Like, and what that does is that creates this barrier between you and what you're thinking,
Yeah.
and it's there's very little you can do about that.
Yeah, and that's what the system of control that's coming in is
Yeah,
establishing. Yeah, and it's basically
yeah,
we're trying to help you, just do as we say.
yeah,
But
exactly.
then
As long as you're a good person, we'll help you. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
we're never gonna, it's like,
yeah. But
why
we
would we
won't be
hurt good
held to the
people?
same standard. That's all.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
good peoples are defined by these categories.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
they don't believe in Trump. They don't follow right-wing ideologies. They don't have a gun. They,
yeah.
soon I see so many things about like not eating meat and like going onto soy products and
Oh,
we're trying to make an insects. Let's eat insects. It's like
I don't want to be a good person. That doesn't
this
sound
is
very appetizing.
but this is the thing. It's
Uh,
like the amount of I reckon excuse me. I reckon if you had a chart for the amount of posts about eating bugs and eating meat replacement, you'll see this like ramp going up.
Really? I haven't seen any of
Yeah.
that. What streams is that on?
I just random streams.
Okay.
Like I like
Bug eating
I'm more just
vegans.
yeah, but it's that like push to mold society in a way that you think is the best, no matter what other people think. And that's always going to occur.
Yeah.
But you've got to mold it towards more free choice as opposed to less. and
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
I mean, yeah. I don't know that people are particularly good with more free choice. That's the problem that I have. Because like when they gave like here in Malaysia, for example, when they like took the lockdowns measures away a lot and just said, look, the corona's still out there. Just make sure you practice your social distancing, sanitize everything. If you are diagnosed, stay in your home confinement, stay in quarantine.
Yeah, yeah,
No one was doing it. Everyone was out
yeah,
there milling around and just trying to get back to life as it was previous. And you're like,
yeah,
you all know the risks and dangers of this, but you're still choosing to do the wrong thing. And
yeah.
that's,
It's the same here. Like they now have to put in Perth. They put ankle bracelets on you.
good God, like a crim.
Yeah. If you violate it once,
Yeah,
then you get an ankle bracelet.
dear God. Yeah, well, that's just it. It's like we're tolerant,
Yeah.
but not of your stupidity.
Yeah, exactly. And it's it's the same with the vaccines. Well, any vaccine. It's this idea of like a social responsibility
Yeah,
where it rubs up against free will and freedom of choice. It's like
yeah,
you have this like dilemma of like, well, the socially responsible thing to do is to get a vaccine, and hopefully you choose to do that.
yeah,
Um, but if you don't, the whole thing breaks down and
yeah,
no one's protected.
yeah. But I mean, that in itself is a product of um, the fact that most of the current generations have not had to endure much hardship. So it's like they've had a
Yeah,
fairly privileged life. You've
yeah,
taken away their privileges by locking them up, and they're just like,
yeah,
screw you, man, I'm gonna do whatever I want
yeah,
whenever I feel like it. And it's like there's no consequence to any choices
yeah,
because there haven't been consequences of any real measure.
yeah.
And so,
What is it? Living in history is what I
yeah,
heard people call it.
yeah,
That you've never lived any history. You've just been in this like
yeah,
all present now.
yeah,
You've
this
never
little
actually
peace
had to
bubble.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah,
you've never had to actually experience history.
yeah. I mean, may this be the worst that it gets, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want
Yeah,
to dive
exactly.
into war. My God.
Oh man,
Um,
it's
but,
so crazy.
um, but But that what that actually then looks like in terms of policy and governance means that you have to be a little bit more, you know, strict with people.
Give him a boot.
Yeah,
It's for your own good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it is.
Hmm. Yeah,
Because
exactly.
yeah, I don't look at the problem. We're having that issue with the fact that the population's growing and growing. We're like going to hit 9
Hmm.
billion in a what? Can't remember exactly the next 10 years or something like that. And
Yeah,
like I remember
it's a lot
growing
of
up
people.
and it was like 3 billion.
Yeah, it's
Or
crazy.
no, it was 2 billion when I was young. And now it's like yeah, nearly 5 times that number. We're already past 4 times or we're nearly 4 times that number.
Did I ever tell you that population thing that I on here? I don't remember
I know
about.
you showed me about the dude who spoke about logarithmic growth.
Yeah, it's basically the idea that like as a population grows, they will grow to the amount of food that's available.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we did speak about this. Yeah.
Really? Yeah. And
Yeah.
then once it reaches that, the population collapses
Yeah.
because they're now producing more offspring than the food can be produced.
Yeah.
And then everyone dies
Yeah.
because there's no food.
Yeah. And you end up with that what was it, that bicyclical stability in a
Yeah,
graph
that's right. We were talking
where it
about
goes
this a
up
while ago.
and it like
Go look at
graphically.
our earlier videos if you
Yeah.
want to know about this.
Yeah. I think I wrote it up in the description of the video.
Yeah,
But yeah,
no, I do remember.
you got that, but unfortunately, like it's a nice little curve, and you're saying, oh, it balances off at this level. But what that looks like is a whole bunch of people get born, no one has the resources, a bunch of people die, it's a horrible
Yeah,
disaster, and then you can come back again and then get to
yeah.
repeat that cycle.
But what unfortunately the other side of that is that we are consuming resources that are no longer renewable. Um,
Right.
so it's like you can't ever get back to this level.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like because like just for pure like the soil degradation, the fishing out the oceans, um, those sort of things. They're like they're sustainable at a certain level, but once you ramp up past that level, you start depleting it.
Yeah.
So once fish can no longer repopulate to the level that they were the year before, and you go and fish again, you're actually depleting it.
Yeah.
So if you then deplete it to the point where it can't regenerate, um, you can't go back up in the cycle.
Yeah.
It just crashes. Like there's nothing there to let it go back up
Yeah.
except eating bugs. Woo!
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping to colonize Mars. That's probably the out that I'm looking for. Um,
Mm.
however, we need those gravity drives that who's that who's that guy that was
Friedman?
was in Area 52?
Is it
Um,
Friedman? No, S4 or whatever his name was.
no, no,
What's his
no.
name?
Uh,
Wasn't it Lex Friedman?
it was on his talk.
Uh,
No, like Lex Friedman is the
oh no, that's the guy.
that's the
That's just,
podcaster. Yeah. Uh, jeez,
but I actually think that oh god, I got
got the Rona.
it's possible because I got it on. I think I got it on
Bob
the plane.
Lazar. That's the one.
Bob Lazar,
Yeah.
that's it. But yeah, I've been doing some research on him, and he seems pretty dodge. Um, a lot of the things uh, I followed this guy on Twitter called Alien Hunter or something, and
Legit. Yep.
he hates Bob Lazar.
Oh, really?
He says a lot of his stuff was disproven in the 80s, and he went away or 90s whenever he came out first. He went away and then tried to come back later and then point to like all the stuff that he did and hope no one looked at it because it wasn't on the internet.
Right. I mean, Joe Rogan seemed to be pretty excited to have him on his show.
He did, yeah, and I don't know. So I'm just I'm, I haven't actually seen any of it. I just
Oh,
saw this guy like he kept tagging Bob Lazar's like anything that came up about Bob Lazar
right.
and going, you were debunked ages ago. You're just a phony. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. I
So
think his story became more popular again because of the Commander Fravor, the
yeah,
pilot
yeah,
who described the motion of the Tic Tac um,
yeah,
craft,
yeah.
and it
Being
aligned.
able to accelerate and decelerate and move and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but also one of the other footages where it talked about like the rotation of the
Oh,
devices
that's right.
to
Yeah,
align with the like the gravitational
yeah,
propulsion systems that it was using, and that like
yeah,
aligned with what Bob Lazar was had been talking
yeah,
about what he'd seen on these ships.
yeah. It had to rotate and then move.
Yeah, because they
Yeah,
like they drew pictures of it where it's like these bottom parts here were where the drives were, and so like you just pointed them, and then it would move in
yeah,
those and that sort
yeah.
of thing. Um, and so he became more popular again because of that, because it seemed to be
Mm,
aligning. But I haven't done any more research into his
no,
stories other than
either have I.
okay, yeah. So I've only seen what he said on Joe Rogan's show. Plus, I saw the
Yeah,
documentary that the dude that brought him on there
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
yeah put
Uh,
together. I can't remember that guy's name either.
the guy with the beard.
Yeah, yeah, and like the super excited eyes. It's just like,
Yeah,
let me tell you about this man. It's like, slow down, breathe. It's
yeah.
cool.
Don't forget about this. I'll tell you
uh,
about it.
here's
Yeah,
what
I
I was
think he's
thinking. Oh, sorry. This is what I was
okay.
thinking about alien abductions, right? Or alien
Yeah.
visitations, any of that. The reason why that is exciting Um,
It's
it's
because you
not.
get probed.
It's the, well, I mean, and they send you flowers afterwards.
Yeah,
You just feel special. Um, no, it's just more to do with the fact that if you live long enough, um, everything starts becoming boring. And so your
yeah,
mind starts to look for the further reaches of experiential like excitement in order to get
yeah,
stimulated. And so like because I was sitting there like, man, more than anything I would love to interact and communicate with these aliens, right?
yeah.
But I'm like, why the hell do you want to do that? What are you gonna do? Like chat with them a bit and they're gonna be like, dude, your planet's being destroyed. You guys are really like screwing things up. I'm like, wow man, you're an
Yeah.
alien.
No, no, no. We're trying to tell you something.
Yeah. Um, yeah, can we get a selfie? But then like what happens after? Then I just become another crackpot that has to go around like, oh no, the message was that we should really take care of our Earth because it's our only
Yeah,
home and we're dying off. Um, but it was like, no, I didn't want it because of that. I wanted it because I wanted that moment where it's like super
yeah,
exciting and things feel significant and real and interesting again.
yeah,
Because if I just like I'm playing Genshin at the moment, which is a fun game, but it's just another RPG. Like
yeah,
it's like I've played a bunch of them. I played Skyrim to
yeah,
death, and that was a lot of fun. But it's like spells and swords, guys. It's pretty much just that over and
yeah,
over, and nothing brings back that same initial excitement that I had of it when I first started
yeah,
playing those old Elder Scroll games.
yeah. That's why I really enjoy D&D still because you get the in the moment. Um, you're not sure what's going to happen.
Mm. Yeah,
Like because it's humans interacting with humans, um, and there's no boundary to what you can do.
yeah,
It, like you, I find it much more like satisfying,
yeah,
even though it's still like you said, like just spells and swords. People are like running around.
yeah,
It's like you're with other people, um, but there's also no interface except
yeah,
some rules, like some rough rules that I can just make up.
yeah.
It's
That's
like
right. Yeah, the sense of
if you
adventure is a bit more heightened.
yeah, because it's like if you guys are like I'm gonna go do this, then I'm like okay, yeah, you can do that. Like, and this is what you see.
Yeah,
Whereas like in a computer game, you run over there and you just start like doing this against an invisible wall,
yeah,
and you're like, oh, can't go that way. Okay, let's go this way then.
yeah. Or
Whereas
you,
there is no invisible walls in D&D. It's
yeah,
like you can't push up against anything. It's like anything that you want to do, you some become something,
yeah.
and that's what I find the most exciting about it.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
the
it allows you for new experience, which
yeah,
this this state of reality doesn't offer much at the moment.
yeah, exactly.
But aliens do. Like
That's true.
it opens up a new interdimensional travel,
Yeah,
telepathy,
I always
gravitational
think.
devices, all that stuff.
Yeah, I've thought about that. Like, imagine flying to like a nebula or something and looking at it and like Star Trek, those scenes.
Yeah,
But then literally like 6 months later, it's like, oh, another nebula. Fuck. Like I
yeah,
just like
yeah,
it's oh the replica machine, like the replicator just like makes the same crappy food over and over again.
yeah. Yeah, what's that from a Hitchhiker's Guide? It tastes almost, but not entirely quite unlike tea.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
well, I've thought about like cargo pilots in the deep space like TV shows. It's like
yeah,
this is a 3 month round trip. Okay, what's out there?
yeah,
Nothing.
yeah,
I've just plotted a course. We accelerate and then we drift.
yeah, yeah. And we
It's,
know that there's nothing gonna come in close to us
yeah,
because
it's like
everything's mapped out.
that's pretty boring. Yeah, that's a
Yeah, you can understand why these crazy dudes, um, 3 centuries ago, just got in a boat and were like, "Let's go that way."
yeah.
Like,
Everyone's like, whoa.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like,
Yeah, and then within 3 weeks they're drinking their own piss. Because they've
Yeah,
run out of
exactly.
resources. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, like even the idea of colonizing Mars would be like that's cool, but what do? You end up 3 months in a tin can, and then you go to a place with what is it, 2/3 Earth gravity and nothing else.
Yeah.
There's just like a big
But,
chunk of rock.
and also everything's already been mapped. So it's not like you're going to discover something undiscovered, except for maybe life. But it's like, it's
Yeah,
not
you'd
like
have
you're
to
going to
go
be
below
like,
the surface. Yeah.
yeah, it's not like I'm like, oh, look at that giant canyon like they used to, where it's like, oh, I found a massive river and there's these unknown animals that are cruising around in it. And,
Yeah, that's
you know,
true.
that I think that was the exploration
Yeah,
high
that's
that they
true.
got
It's
was
just a
this like,
completely new set of images,
yeah,
creatures, environments. Yeah.
yeah, which is again like very much like D&D. It's like you don't
Yeah.
like as you guys are going through something, I'm describing it, and it's like you get to experience. Oh, now I'm going through canyons. Now I'm going like following a river, and there's like, it's like we might as well speak about what we did last weekend.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
what?
well,
That's basically you guys' first real jaunt into the wilderness. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, we did gold fields,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, that was,
That was like a round trip.
yeah, um, yeah, we didn't really just duck off into the wilderness. We went through that
Mm.
forest once. That was,
Oh, that was fun.
that had two encounters and then we left. It's like, no, screw forests.
Yeah, yeah. Forests suck.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, we're pretty tough now. We're like what, seventh level, so
Yeah.
we should be owning these forests.
Mm. Yeah.
He's like, yeah. You tell
Yeah.
yourself that.
Yeah.
Have a
Definitely.
spare character ready.
Yeah. I nearly killed you with that hill giant.
Oh, uh, really? Yeah. Actually, I got put down to less than half life.
If you didn't have that stone's endurance, you would have been like one hit away from dying, I reckon.
Yeah, that.
Well,
Yeah.
not dying, but going
No, no,
unconscious at
no,
least.
no. Yeah, one more hit because that first amount of damage is
Yeah.
like 50 something, and I'm only on
Yeah.
70 something hit points. So yeah,
Yeah.
it would have definitely destroyed me on the second one. But I mean, this character, that's his idea. He's supposed to just tank and tank and tank.
Yeah. Yeah.
But unfortunately, that armor he's wearing at the moment. um,
Why don't you put some more money in it?
yeah, yeah. So I don't know if anyone watches this. I've got armor. It
Yeah.
seems to be cursed. If I put money on it, it looks like it grows, but it doesn't really grow. It doesn't seem to do anything.
You
So
changed its color,
yeah, I did. Yeah.
and you've got like a little dial that you can move around.
Yeah, yeah. We've worked out what the dials and stuff do, right? Like pretty much.
Only one. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Is there another one? I thought there was like a whole bunch of
There's,
settings and we've
there's,
got it covered.
there's three dials, and you've
Oh.
only unlocked one of them.
Oh, I misunderstood that.
Mm.
I thought it was one dial and it had all those settings and we played around with them all.
No, the settings on the side. So on the side, there's a bunch of lights. Well, not lights, but like little lights
Yep,
that were mostly red and
yep,
with one green dot.
yep.
And then now they're all green, and you've got a
Right.
one circle open.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Well,
okay.
it came with one circle open.
Right. Yep. So I can play with the rest of it. See what
Yeah,
happens. Yeah.
but if you can unlock it. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
did you
Good.
like my goblin steered ballista?
Um.
Oh,
Yeah.
I cackled to myself when I thought of that. Thought that was gonna be hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, just launching a goblin into combat.
Just like, "Rah!" Like I just I was picturing him like riding like a missile into someone.
Yeah. Yeah. That was. Well, look, we took care of those things pretty well. I think
Mm.
my character needs to get some range capacity.
Mm.
Actually, no, I think he can just hold the line back and then just let the rest of the party shoot until anything gets close, and then I'll smash all that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are working pretty well together.
Yeah,
Like, you basically stop that thing's movement, and V just picked them all off, basically.
yeah, and
Like,
we
because if
got
he,
ah, yeah, we got
I was
we
gonna say,
got.
if he got close to V, like that would have been,
All right, yeah. No, I'm supposed to be meat wall for all that. It's like, no,
yeah,
you're 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 mine, buddy. Um, but we got also Guinness's backstory a bit, which was nice.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
That's good that you guys are talking like that. 'Cause it was good.
yeah. Well, that's what I found in the other game we're playing is like it's the journey time between places is where we
Yeah,
sort of can do a little bit of the character development stuff. Um,
yeah, definitely.
so that
And I
yeah,
encourage you to do that because
yeah,
hopefully it starts everyone else doing it. Because
mm,
again, like people when they're talking, it's like if you're not doing that, you're still more in that computer game mindset
yeah. And
where
I'm assuming
it's
that
like
like the other characters have got more backstory to them, but really it's like I know nothing
yeah,
about any of them really. Like Esmeralda
yeah,
is just a bard that popped up, and
yeah,
V is just a what a like a warlock or something, a sorcerer, warlock,
yeah.
something. And that's all I know. Is like yeah, he likes to set stuff on fire.
You guys spent like 6 months together probably now. No,
Mm,
less than that. It would have been 3 months. I think that whole thing took
yeah,
roughly like 3 to 4 months. I think you guys have been in there
yeah, yeah. It would have been close to that.
because you started at the start of summer, according to my recollections, and now it's just going into the start of autumn.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
3 to 4 months.
seen our first bit of snow.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's. I mean, it's interesting that we're we're following a unicorn that what's the face Esmeralda picked up
yeah,
just on some random side quest. It's like it's this big.
yeah,
It's just like maybe we should do something with this.
yeah. Every so often she pulls it out of the bag and it's like,
Yeah.
hello? And it's like, no, please help.
Yeah. We will. Okay, bye. Back
Yeah,
in your bag.
essentially. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I guess it does. I mean, we're playing it pretty diligently, so
Yeah,
that's been good. And the internet's been holding out pretty well for us to
yeah,
do
your
that.
internet's going really well.
Yeah. And that's but yeah, honestly, that the Roll20 system is working so
Oh,
much better
man.
with it.
Are you guys using it on your one as well?
I haven't played with my other group since what, like maybe November or something.
Oh,
Maybe,
really?
yeah,
Oh, that's a shame.
it's been quite a while.
Yeah.
Or
Well, it's
maybe
really good.
it
Like,
was in December. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it's really good, eh? Like, it's just like that combat was just like boom, 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 boom,
yeah,
boom, boom, boom. And
yeah.
like, I take longer than everyone now because I don't have any quick buttons. I have to like still, but I still just click it. Like, I just go
Uh,
2d20 plus 6, like just with buttons, and it
yeah,
just like rolls it. I don't have
yeah,
to write it out.
yeah. It's
It's
probably
like,
not easy for you to make macros for any of that because you got different creatures every time. So
oh, if I did that, that would be half my planning sessions would be like,
yeah,
and
macro
now I have
creation.
to write 6 macros as, yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, it does have that little map of the dice that you can just plot out. So
Yeah, that's what I do. I do that, and then if I need to quick roll something, I just quick roll a d20 and add in my head what it is.
right.
So it's
Yeah,
like if I have to do a saving throw or something like that, I just go this and then look at what the plus or minus is and just take it off in my head.
yeah,
So I don't have to like waste time typing it in.
yeah, yeah.
No, it's
I
definitely made everything workable.
yeah, yeah. It's very good. The like what you're saying about the concept of that, the fact that D&D is a bit more adventurous and open and imaginative in that sense. It was interesting when I was running a group through the school that I'm
Mm,
working at, because the kids there, they loved it, and they brought
mm,
their own craziness into it, which was, yeah, it was very, it was nice to see that storytelling capacity is actually something that people still really enjoy, and the fact that you can be interactive in that part of the storytelling of it, um,
mm.
is what kind of invests you and makes it interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I do wonder, at what point do you get old enough where, um, the, what is it, the importantness, or the, what's that word, starts with S, um,
Significance.
significance of whatever it is you're doing starts to fade, like for
Yeah.
pretty much most things.
Well, I think we're hardwired for stories. I think that has come down from ancient times. The
I
way
guess.
we like because we have to create a story for everything. Like there's very little thing, even scientific literature and everything has to tell a story before we understand it.
Yeah,
It's
I guess so.
it, it's very few things that we like. Pure maths doesn't really tell stories. Um, like even physics stuff, but even the physics stuff is like, we like even when you're describing stuff, you're describing it through time, and there's objects and subjects, and there's how they interact, and everything becomes very story-like. Um, and I think it's a function of our language and of our brain capacities.
Uh,
That we can only ingest, and I think that comes from oral tradition, like
uh,
through 100,000 years of evolution.
yeah,
It's mostly been oral, um,
yeah,
and
yeah. The written word's
I,
not very long.
no, and even it's like it's hard to think of any other way of communicating except through a story.
Yeah, I guess so.
It it's like even when we're talking, we're swapping ideas, but we're doing it through a narrative. We're not. It's not like it's not like we're communicating pure fact at any time.
Yeah, yeah. We don't have
It's like,
telepathy yet.
but also it's like it's not like I'm going. Trump said this, then this happened, then this happened, and this is the inevitable conclusion. It's like I'm talking about it in terms of like a narrative. Um,
Yeah.
it's
Well, what was that? There was that book. Who was that dude? He had that weird near-death experience, and in it, he died, and he went to, I don't know. He flew over a battlefield first, and there was just like people just continuously murdering each other on this battlefield, and then they'd like get back up again after they'd been, and just go straight back into it, and it was just continuous. And then he like went to the next area, and it was a bunch of scientists, and these scientists were like working on um, the deep truths of existence and the universe and everything. And there was like a door that said like the mysteries of the universe lay beyond here, kind of thing.
mm,
My mind, for some reason, made it into the bathroom, but um, but it
your
was
Zen spot.
where all good ideas come out.
Yeah.
um, um, but the interesting part about that was like, I mean, I don't know what this dude was doing in his near-death experience journey part, but it was more that a mind can get so hooked into trying to unravel the mysteries of the universe that even after death, you end up around a whole
Yeah.
bunch of other like-minded individuals, and you just go and create a science lab and start trying to unravel it in like the mental form rather than the current physical form with its limitations.
pretty freaky.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would definitely paint a different picture on what life, the universe, and everything means,
Mm.
because we do
Because it's
have that weird duality of consciousness and physical form.
yeah, and we also have like I said, like we have this like like science is almost trying to strip away all the narratives to get to the truth,
Mm,
and but it's a testament to how strongly we need those, um, to how little science makes headway on things that aren't pure fact based. Like here's an element, and this element melts at this temperature. It's like as soon as you get into political sciences, psychology, um, especially like health sciences, like diets and stuff like that, you just it just like proliferates into a million different narratives. And like when you talk to people about it, it's the same thing. Like you're saying, it's like everyone's trying to find the truth of what it is, like whatever they're focused on. Like how do you eat the best diet? And people always go to like, well, I was fat and then I went thin, or I was eating like this and then I ate like this and this happened. Um, but they're all just like narratives. And the only way you get to like close to resembling facts is like through the scientific method, which is like, double blind tests and all these things where it's like, doesn't matter what you think, this is what occurred.
yeah.
And it's, it's, it's again, I think, like going back to what we originally started this with was, um, when do you use your brain tire of stories? I think you can't. I, like you might tire of certain storylines, um, but I don't think you can tire of stories because I don't think your brain thinks any other way. No, I don't think we can.
Yeah, I don't know, because
Yeah.
I've seen people that get older and they tend to stick to what they know and they cycle that
Mm,
around, and that
yeah.
seems to
But
be,
that's like they get locked in a narrative,
yeah.
and that's like I listen to my mum, and it's hi mum. Um,
She doesn't watch, so I
no,
can't.
I haven't even told her I'm doing it. But it's like your mind gets captured by certain ideas because they're greater than your mind, and you can't find your way out of that idea, so it controls you. And it, so that's sort of like what level you get caught at, and you don't go beyond that, which is kind of like what I was saying early on in the early episodes with like the difference between old people looking on the next generation as idiots and the next generation living through that experience, um, and making choices based on it. It's like you can never get into that generation's mind. You can just look at what's happening from the outside,
Yeah,
um, and it's because you're looking from where you were brought up from, because we haven't escaped those narratives
yeah,
that we were grown up in.
yeah, right.
Um,
That's how you created your reality.
yeah, and then you look back on the next one, you're like, that's weird and stupid.
Yeah,
Like, it's
the kids these
it,
days, damn it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's it's like excuse me. You just have no there's just no it's just two different like narratives going on in each other's heads, built on foundational experiences that you have no way of escaping from.
Yeah,
Like there's except through meditation you can let go of a lot of it.
yeah, or I
But
guess adopting the scientific method into your
yeah,
framework.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I mean, look at what they were talking about with medical, all the medical stuff. Like I don't know how recent it came out, but like they were basically using males for like all the early studies and just
Oh,
saying like, well, the women it'll work for women as well.
right.
Um, um,
I think
and
you
so
were
a lot of the
talking about this.
yeah, so like a lot of the early scientific stuff, it's just based on dudes.
Yes,
And
I remember you saying about this.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah, that's so
it's
crazy. Uh,
like they're just guys without nuts, right? Like you can just like,
yeah. Um,
and so now they're having to go back and recheck everything.
yeah. Yeah, I guess. I was just remembering something. It's a complete tangent, but I was in the
Mm,
shopping center, um, like doing our last day of hurrah before all the lockdown stuff. And
buying all the toilet paper,
yeah, yeah, stockpiling. I mean, we use bidets here, so there's no really toilet
much
paper.
more advanced.
Yeah. Um, but like it was that setup of a couple, but like it was a really tall guy and like a short chick, a
Yeah,
short girl. Um, and okay, the mind always goes just like, oh, I wonder how big he is, and that it's like, oh, she must like big guys, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But that's usually the perspective that it's taken from, right? But what about the opposite side, like the guy's perspective? Oh, I just want a really small girl. It's like, why? Why is that your thing? It can't be a dominance thing, right? Like, because if you're huge, you can basically pick any one of them. It doesn't have to be this tiny
yeah.
girl.
It's true.
But you see that. I mean, maybe it just stands out because it stands out more, so you notice it,
Mm,
and you don't see all the other
yeah,
couples as much. But like, is that what's going on? Is that like he has the I have complete dominance going on here? Um,
yeah. Or maybe there's just no one looks big to them. Or maybe there's a smaller percentage of women that are big. I don't know. Yeah.
well, yeah, that could be it. What I was thinking with this is
But
that
you're talking
it's
about like massive
yeah, like
differences.
what like
Yeah.
Shaq dating someone, you
Yeah. Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like that. There was like a foot
Mm,
between them, or more. Um,
yeah. Yeah.
and
That's
uh,
quite a bit.
yeah, no, it was noticeable. I think that's why it like sprang to mind. I'm like looking at it, and then I'm like, wow, she likes big guys, and I'm like, but
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
he likes small girls. Okay. Um, but I was thinking about it then in terms of like the idea of dominance, right?
Mm,
But if you're a big guy already, you don't have to work hard for dominance for most things
yeah.
because you have that implied already. And
Yeah.
so therefore then your ability when challenged is diminished, against say a person who's a lot smaller who has to fight
Yeah.
harder to prove themselves
Yeah.
for dominance. So like,
Yeah. Yeah.
the small guy's got to work for it a bit. But
Yeah.
then that means he's like more ready to prove himself. Whereas
Yeah.
if you're like a big guy and you pick a really small, I was going to say opponent there for a second, if you pick a small partner,
Yeah.
then it's super easy at that point.
Tell me, Chris, why
Then
do
that's.
you choose to say opponent when you were talking about your partner?
I mean, it's wrestling, right? I was thinking
When
about
you
it.
pick when you pick a small mother, I mean,
Yeah, that's right. Wife, same, same. What? Not same. No. Um, yeah, my wife loves it when I call her mummy.
yeah,
Thanks, mummy.
yeah. I love my num nums.
Dear. Um, I was thinking in terms of dominance and like yeah, because they don't have that like, especially if they need to in a partner where they need to like have a certain sense of vulnerability about them.
Mm,
Then if you then pick a partner that is someone that you definitely know you immediately have like physical dominance over, or it's easy in
Mm.
that way, then it allows you to be a little bit more vulnerable in an area where you're not actually very secure.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is my thought of what it is. So the smaller guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He can just like he can pick the taller girls or whatever. That's fine because he's got to work
Yeah.
hard to prove himself, and he's already tested quite a
He's
lot.
already got the resilience of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the social implication of all of that is there's always the
That's
question
interesting.
of like that tall guy. He, I wonder how big it is. You know what I'm saying? It's already.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're never asking that of the small guy. It's like, oh, I wonder how big it is. It's like, hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
buddy.
It's like you've just
So,
very good point.
yeah,
It's
because
like you've got yeah, you're kind of locked into those social roles.
yeah. Well, I was just about to say, this is what I'm talking about with the students at school. It's not that. I'm not talking about that. But it sort of is because we're talking.
Everyone stand up in the class. Who's tall?
That's right. Yeah. Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
You're the short one.
Yeah.
No, we're talking about perfectionism. And you have this like socially dictated perfectionism, especially in particular roles as things like doctors and lawyers and things, where it's like
Mm.
I want my doctor to know I want them basically to be one of those people who's always right.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because if they're not, that's a serious problem. But then the
Yeah.
amount of stress that that places on that individual, that doctor, is quite
Yeah.
large, and so they develop this like self-restrained kind of perfectionism about them, which
Yeah.
can start
Yeah.
to
That
lead to that critical perfectionism, which is the negative side of it.
okay. Yeah.
Because they have to always be right. I mean, it can also lead to like self-inflated egos, and you run
Yeah.
up
And
against that.
it kind of goes you stop taking risks.
Yeah, exactly, because
Yeah.
you can't. You have to
Yeah.
be perfect, and risk
Yeah.
doesn't allow perfection doesn't allow for risk. It allows
Yeah.
for only certainty.
Mm.
Um, and that's why you end up with these people that get like super stressed in those roles. Um, but then it also that kind of perfectionism is something that socially dictated perfectionism is something that quite often happens for like teenagers and children here in Asian countries because the
Yeah.
parent is just like, you got to get them A's. I don't care
Yeah.
what you do, you got to get them, and it's like that becomes your love language is high achievement.
Mm.
And then you end up with that, yeah, like so there's a lot of like self-critical. Why am I even trying? Why do I even bother? I'm just a failure. And they
Yeah.
say what tends to occur a lot with that
That's really
mentality.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is what I start to see is because, like you're talking about risk taking,
Mm.
so many people just do not do that kind of or engage in that kind of activity here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that mentality of, I will not attempt it unless I know I can do it perfectly.
Yeah.
And so you end up with this
Gosh.
like restrained, that's why you end up with this like very restrained kind of culture
Mm.
because of the implied or the socially dictated perfectionism that's been put on them by like parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, and so I was like, oh, this is it was interesting about how it tied in with the role of the tall short people, but um yeah,
Yeah. That is true.
you do end up with an entire cultural basis on that because that is one of the cultural stereotypes, and it's something that especially in Australia your top students are like 90% the Asian kids,
Yeah.
and it's rare and it's very difficult for white kids to bust into that top level group.
Yeah. Because the parents aren't pushing them.
No, no, that's right. But you're
Yeah.
also ending up with these high achievers that are not risk takers
Mm.
or not as much ones. They're not as innovative. They're not as
Yeah.
willing to push the boundaries as much because the
I wonder if
expectation is you
I
need
wonder
to
if
be
that's why
perfect.
you get the stereotype of the um, successful entrepreneur being someone who starts in their garage. and drops out of college
Yeah, possibly. They
because they're on the opposite end where they only take risks.
Well, because there's a healthy
Like,
type of perfectionism as well. There's like the
yeah,
self-directed perfectionism where you channel that perfectionism into a couple of areas only. It doesn't bleed out into all the
yeah,
areas of your life, so it's not in your relationships and your
yeah. So you want to
diets, whatever.
become good at a craft or
Yeah,
a martial art or
yes.
something
So
like
you
that.
set
Yeah,
yourself super high goals,
yeah,
but because you're so adapted to or adept at um, not needing to fulfill that perfectionism in everything you do, if you don't
yeah,
perform to this heightened level, but you perform a little bit less, but it's still pretty damn good, that can be a
yeah.
good enough thing because it means that you
Okay.
achieved a whole bunch more than people that were like just motivated
Yeah,
enough to
yeah,
reach,
yeah. Okay.
that far.
Yeah,
So it's yeah, it's still tying back into the I think I told you about the optimism and the like the optimal levels of optimism and realism and
yeah,
pessimism.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So it still ties in with that, but in order to be that higher level achieving, you actually need to kind of envision yourself as being something much better than what you are currently, because that's one of the great motivators or the drives that actually cause you to keep pushing and pushing to make this high achievement. Um, but I'm
no,
assuming
okay.
that's what these
Yeah.
entrepreneurial dudes have is that like they have that vision of what they want to be or what they want to achieve,
Yeah.
and then they're
Yeah.
like,
First.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then they work on it. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming those dudes in the garages were just like, I've got this idea, and we've got these
Mm.
machines. Let's try and build that. It's like, yeah, dude, let's do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
But they don't have that need for safety coupled with that.
Yeah. And they don't have it. They also don't obviously didn't have the parental figures that like tried to stifle that.
Yeah, yeah, didn't place the
Because
expectation.
I mean, imagine there's probably a bunch of people um, who started doing that and got shut down.
Oh,
There's probably also a bunch of people that tried it and failed.
yeah,
So they had an idea, but it didn't work. Um, so you're kind of pushed towards we'll call it the Asian model of high achieving. Um, if you if you want to reach, it's almost like a mean. Like if you want to reach the mean
yeah,
and not go further than the mean,
yeah,
that's what you should be doing.
yeah. But
If you want to,
what that looks like in practical terms is you're becoming the doctor, the dentist, the accountant,
yeah,
the
exactly,
lawyer. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, and that's
So you're going for safety
yeah,
and no original thought. Um, but if you try and go for original thought, um, you have a high variability of success,
yeah,
and so it's I can see why it makes sense to people to push to be the doctors and the lawyers because it's like I want I want my kid to be safe. I want them to be prosperous. I want them to not have to worry.
yeah,
Uh, so I'll get them to do this and push them, push them, push them. Um, even though you're doing like um, structural harm to their personality.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
um,
yeah, not all, but
yeah,
probably quite a
yeah,
few struggle a
yeah,
lot with it. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. It's like you do have the natural gifted people that
yeah,
are also motivated to do those things.
yeah.
It's
But
like
you don't want to be the okay doctor. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
It's like, yeah, I got him a doctor. They're okay. It's like,
yeah. He had to look some stuff up on Google.
I had to tell him what it was I
Yeah,
had, and then he's like,
yeah.
"Oh yeah, that makes so much sense." That's not your doctor. Oh dear.
I was going to cut your leg off, but oh, you've actually sprained your ankle. Okay.
Yeah, Yeah, so yeah, that whole socially dictated perfectionism on these roles, it's not actually that good a thing. It sounds like it's a
Yeah,
safety route, but it's actually a super stressful and can be very damaging and difficult for a lot of people.
but it gets the organism to the point where it can replicate and pass on its genes,
Yeah, yes,
and
it
that's
does.
why it's going that way
Yeah, that's true.
at the cost of like the individual personality.
Yeah,
It's created a pathway to do that,
yeah, that's
and
true.
that's I think that's why it replicates,
Yeah,
because it's replicating.
yeah, it gets sold on the narrative of guaranteed longevity.
Yeah, look at the generations before that did it. They did it, and they're fine.
Yeah,
Um, and you, the entrepreneurs are very hard to replicate.
yeah, yeah, because there is like a you know, what's his face that made Facebook or whatever that's become billion.
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, Zuckerberg becomes billionaires. But there's a billion people that didn't that tried
Yeah,
doing the
exactly.
same thing. Yeah, because
Yeah,
if I go out and I look for say other platforms than TikTok, for example, there's
yeah,
stacks and no
yeah,
one's on them.
yeah. Exactly. And that's the different route,
Yeah.
and it's very interesting when you look at it like that. You've got the safe known channels
Mm,
that don't allow for individualism and like basically stress you out
yeah.
and crush you
Yeah.
into a certain shape. And then you've got the few routes of freedom,
Yeah.
um, but you have to
Fraught
carve
with
it out
peril.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to carve it out. You have to do the,
Yeah.
you have to
Was it?
walk across the tiny little bridge and
Yeah.
across the ravine and stuff.
Yeah. Because I was watching one of the news reports about like the difficulties there was some people in I think it was in China that had made business deals that had gone wrong, and then they weren't able to pay back the business loans, and then um, I think they just committed suicide because the pandemic then also hit, and so they had no additional sources
Yeah,
of income stream, and it was just like
gosh.
everything you've done is now just completely gone, and
Yeah,
not only will you not hit rock bottom, it's just you cannot make the repayments anymore.
yeah. You will go to jail, directly to jail.
Yeah, and
You will
it's
not pass go.
yeah, and it's like, but they're the
Yeah,
people that tried to take a risk and it failed.
yeah,
And
exactly. And though you never hear from them because they never make it.
no, no, exactly. And that's like that for me is also pretty frightening because it's like I'd love to
Yeah,
open my own practice and have my own clients and stuff, but oh man, that could go horribly wrong. Um,
but I think you have to start by not thinking that.
yeah, yeah, well, that's right. You need to have that
Yeah,
certain level of optimism.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's why entrepreneurs skew towards optimistic.
Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely it's interesting seeing how that model is unfolding in itself, or how it unfolds itself, in the actual roles of parents and children.
Mm,
Because yeah, you just see kids stuck in the system. They're just being told work, study, get your grades, get your.
mm,
I don't care what you do other than that. Just get your grades, get your grades, get your grades. And then
yeah,
it's like, what do you do after that? And most will pick the safety route,
yeah,
and and
exactly.
and a lot of that's come because of this socially dictated perfectionism that the
Mm,
parents have put on them. And yeah, obviously they'll have their own internal drives and they'll have their influences from their friends and so on. But what
yeah.
the studies were showing that I was reading up about this is that it's also on the increase, especially the self-critical one. Um, oh, the socially dictated one linking to the self-critical one is on the increase because of social media. And no
Mm,
one's life will ever be as good as it shows on Instagram.
yeah, Yeah.
And like I'm trying to make videos that I put up on the gram and on TikTok and stuff, and I'm like taking 10 versions of it and I'm only posting one.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
was to post every like failure video of it beforehand, no one would watch it because it's just me going, oh geez, what am I supposed to say again? Okay, all right,
Although you
start again,
could do
start
a
again.
montage of that, and that could be a
Yeah,
video.
but I'd have to do 10 takes of that to get the montage right because I don't want to look too stupid. You know what I mean?
I want to control how stupid I look.
Exactly. I don't want to be failing forward in any of my
Yeah.
videos. Um,
Yeah.
but like so much of what I'm watching, it's just like, hey, you want to be like this? Bing, that's all you do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, just
Yeah.
swipe left. There you are. It's completed.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's all those
oh,
life hack things.
yeah, and
Like,
but what it's not showing is the fact that it's like here's the 10 outtakes of this video in itself
yeah.
that's wrong,
Yeah.
or no one's just saying,
Yeah.
hey, if you want to be like really well self-adjusted, let's just okay, we're going to take the next 10 hours, we're going to sit down, we're
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
going to like plan out all the things you need to do, we'll walk through a
Yeah.
couple of
Yeah.
basic exercises, all that, and
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I mean, shit, if anyone showed me that video, I'd just be like, swipe, 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 get rid of it.
Yeah.
Um, but what it's doing, I think it's doubled the rate of people that report this kind of a self-critical
Mm.
perfectionism based on it because they're now also trying to conform to that. And I'm realizing
Yeah.
that's what I'm falling into as well because I want to fit into the platform that I see in order to get my videos shown. But in order to
Yeah.
do that, I then need to project this image of a simplistic perfectionism.
Yeah.
It's like, look how easy it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just do that. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's not real. But in order for me to do that, to produce this image that I'm trying to get out there, I have to make it look like
Yeah.
it is. But that's
Yeah.
frightening because then if it takes off and gets anywhere, I am then typecast into this mold
Yeah.
and then have to be that person. And no one can be that person because it's
Yeah.
fake.
Well, that's why I like this, because we're just talking,
Yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah.
I really like that we're doing it live now, because it's just there's very little like sense of
Yeah. We don't have to
I'm not
edit it
really
out.
I'm not self-censoring that much that I can notice.
No, no, that's right. And I think
Yeah.
it's healthy to have this kind of a display of humanity and dialogue in
Yeah.
it because like we're still covering roughly the same topics that I'm talking about in my other ones, but they're like
Yeah.
in a much more realistic layout. And
Yeah.
I
And
look,
also the
yeah, yeah, no, certainly I know when I do sessions with people as well, because I have them for a longer amount of time, my examples of what it is they need to do in order to grow are very related back to either my own personal experience or stories that I've heard from others that
yeah.
show that it's like, well, it's like, say, starting a new job. This is what I was telling the kids now. It's like, if you're starting a new job, you have this trial period at the start where you're going to get everything you do wrong, basically.
Mm.
But the thing that they're looking out for is how many times you do the same thing wrong.
Yeah.
So if you can
Yeah.
manage to just do it wrong once or twice and then you're getting better, okay, this person might work out. And that's why it's always
Yeah.
better for companies to
Yeah. Yeah.
retain their employees than to hire new,
Yeah.
because you end up with a much more efficient staff member. Um,
Yeah.
but that doesn't live up to the perfectionist mentality because the idea is that you're supposed to get in there, get it right the first time, and then like
Yeah.
never mess up. But I'm saying failing is normal. It's the idea of failing forward that you need to adopt so that you can actually be successful. And so that's like the
Hmm.
more realistic stories that I tell people. But try and condense that into like a 30-second soundbite. It's damn near impossible.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, trying to work out ways of getting that. But social media is really damaging for that because there's so many people trying to get that like 10, 20 seconds of your attention
Yeah.
that
And there's way more flashier people.
yeah, it's they're calling it pretty
Mm.
privilege now. It's like I had the kids up online that I was chatting to
Wow.
in class, and they're like, how to be successful on social media. Step one, be pretty,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
be hot. It's like,
But I
yep.
mean that was always the case. I don't think that's ever changed. Like
Yeah,
if you're
no,
good
of
looking,
course.
yeah,
Otherwise, you have to have like an amazing personality or something.
yeah. But that comes secondary. So
Yeah,
it's like,
that has a better shelf life,
yeah,
because the
exactly.
pretty privileged stuff people get very bored of very quickly as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. But it's like, yeah, you tend to give good looking people more leeway.
For sure. No, the ones
Yeah,
with all the hits are the pretty ones. That's always
yeah,
all it is. And and the ones with the even greater hits are the pretty ones who are showing a bit of this and that.
yeah.
'Cause
Is that
it's
what we should be doing?
yeah, yeah. That's right. Just pull up my shirt. But yeah, I mean that's like I'm flipping through TikTok and there's just like there's some chick on there and she's like whatever in her yoga pants and doing something and
Yeah,
I'm like what what are you actually bringing to this? Oh, nothing. You're just selling an image of beauty. It's like
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
great, but that's actually also kind of boring. Um,
yeah,
Flick next, but then it's like how many views and likes has this one got? Stacks. But then
yeah.
I flick to like the Aussie comedian that I really like, this dude called Ruben, something or other.
Hmm.
He's hilarious. Produces like original content all the time. If he's lucky, he's getting 1,000 views or 1,000 likes on his videos.
I see that on YouTube. Like, there's a couple of groups of comedians that I see that I watch. There's one like Genuine Jerks, and can't remember the other. There's a couple other ones, and they're hilarious. Original skit comedy,
Yeah.
like really snappy writing, very funny. Like the successful ones are getting 5,000 views,
Jeez. Yeah.
and it's like, why?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand it, but what I saw was this dude produced like this quite a funny little sketch, and then somebody else used the audio of it and then acted it out in their own way and got like
What?
600,000 hits on it, and then they don't like cite original content, dudes. And I'm just like,
That's the worst.
yeah. So step one, be pretty. That's what it comes down to. Um, yeah.
Well, I think we can.
Mm.
You want to finish up there? I'm
Yep. Yep. No
I'm
problem.
suffering in this chair.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's like a dining chair. It's not really a comfortable sitting chair.
All right. Yeah, no worries. Okay, cool. Well then, I guess we'll catch up for D&D this weekend.
Yep.
Still good for that, and then we can do another
No,
live stream
definitely Saturday.
next
Yeah,
week.
that'd be awesome. No, I
Yep.
love it.
All right.
Always
Um,
good catching up.
yeah. See you.
Hopefully, the world will still be here next week.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we'll get
And
through 2021. Yeah.
yeah, at
Maybe.
least
At
January.
least January. Yeah. Up to January 20th. We'll see what
Yeah,
happens after that. Trump's there mashing the
definitely,
the nukes button on his desk.
definitely going to be interesting.
All right. Finish up there. See you later. And
Catch you later.
I've clicked end stream.